The Silent Watcher at Blackwood Forest. It was supposed to be an ordinary camping trip. My friend and I had been planning this getaway for weeks, a peaceful night in Blackwood Forest, far from the noise of the city. We arrived just before sunset, setting up our tent in a small clearing surrounded by towering trees. Everything felt perfect, quiet, and calm, but the locals had warned us no one camped too deep in Blackwood after dark. We shrugged it off as local superstition. That was a mistake. As night fell, the forest came alive with the sounds of nature. Crickets chirped, branches rustled in the breeze, and an owl hooted from somewhere above. We sat by the fire, laughing, roasting marshmallows, and telling stories. It wasn't until the wind died down that we noticed how unnervingly quiet it had become. No more crickets, no more rustling leaves, just complete silence. That's when we heard it. A soft rustle from the trees, like something or someone moving just out of sight. We both froze, our eyes scanning the dark woods. But we couldn't see anything beyond the circle of light cast by the campfire. The air felt heavy, charged, like we were being watched. Trying to shake off the feeling, we crawled into our tent and zipped it shut. We lay there in the dark, talking softly, trying to convince ourselves that everything was fine. But that sense of being watched, it wouldn't go away. It only grew stronger. Suddenly, there was a sound of faint, deliberate tapping on the outside of our tent. My heart pounded in my chest. We both went silent, listening, barely daring to breathe. The tapping grew louder, more insistent, like fingers drumming on the canvas. I reached for my flashlight and slowly unzipped the tent, shining the beam into the night. Nothing. No animals, no branches swaying in the wind, just empty forest. I pulled the zipper closed, telling myself it must have been a branch or an animal. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. We lay there, wide awake, and then the tapping started again. This time it was faster, more frantic, as if someone was desperately trying to get in. I felt the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. My friend whispered, "We need to go." Just as I was about to move, the tent collapsed. Something or someone had yanked the supports down. We scrambled out of the tangled mess, grabbing our backpacks and flashlight. But when we stood outside, there was no one. The campfire had died down, and the forest was utterly silent, except for the pounding of our hearts. We didn't waste any time. We grabbed what we could and started heading back down the trail, not bothering to pack up the tent. As we stumbled through the darkness, I kept feeling like we were being followed. Every few steps I'd hear the crunch of leaves behind us, but when I turned around, there was nothing but shadows. Halfway down the trail, I shone my flashlight into the trees one last time. That's when I saw it. A figure barely visible standing just beyond the tree line. It was tall, impossibly thin, and its face, if it had one, was hidden in darkness. It stood there, perfectly still, watching us. We didn't stop running until we reached the car. We never went back to Blackwood Forest after that night, and sometimes when I close my eyes, I can still see that figure standing there, silent, watching. If you've ever experienced something strange while camping or hiking, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your story.